So we have about 4 market structures that we should all know about. Can you mention any 4 market structures? So my interest is on oligopoly, but just to have a view of the market structures, let's quickly mention these 4 market structures.
Monopolistic markets. Sorry?
Yes, we have monopolistic markets. Yes.
There's also a perfect competition.
Yes, perfect competition.
Okay, duopolies.
Yes.
And duopoly. And then oligopoly.
Okay, great. At least somebody has been studying. You're the only one who knows all this. What's your name? The rest don't know. Okay. So let me take you through these market structures. Then I will take you specifically to an oligopolistic market structure. For perfect competition, basically, we're looking at a market structure that has many buyers and sellers. The goods in this market are identical, and there's easy entry and exit. So information here is perfect, and prices are determined by the invisible hand. So they are price takers because the invisible hand will predetermine the equilibrium. And so being price takers, meaning they have no control over pricing, and there is no individual who can influence the market price. So individuals are price takers. Examples are agricultural markets, stock exchange, because the goods in this market structure are the same. So we have another market structure, which we call a monopolistic. Monopolistic market structure has the following characteristics. Number one, there are large numbers of buyers and sellers. The goods are differentiated. The term we use is heterogeneous. So there's relatively easy entry and exit. There's some control in pricing due to product differentiation. So it's a market structure where there's heavy marketing and prices differentiation, and there's non-price competition. Examples include restaurants, clothing stores, consumer markets, etc. We also have another market structure, which we call a monopoly. Monopoly, what should come into your mind is Zesco. In this market structure, we have the following characteristics. So number one, we can say there's a single firm that dominates the market. There are no close substitutes for the product. There is high barriers to entry. The monopolist has significant control over raw materials. Examples are local utilities like power utility companies, pharmaceutical, etc. And now we go to our topic for the evening, which is an oligopoly. So in an oligopoly, the following is what happens. So oligopoly is a market structure that has few large firms that dominate the market. There are heavy barriers to entry, and goods are both homogeneous and heterogeneous. There's significant degree of market power and interdependence among the firms. There are collusions or strategic behaviors that may occur. Examples could be the automobile, telecommunication, the drink industry. So here, predominantly, firms have interdependent decisions. And if we're going to look at the curve has a kink. And this kink is what makes decisions to be interdependent. So in this market, decisions that are interdependent, in an instance where there's a market leader, it means firms will follow through the prices that the market leader would suggest. And so we're now going to look at questions that come to do with an oligopoly. So now here we go. We have a demand function in an oligopolistic market where we have petroleum company that has two functions. Q is equal to 210 minus 30 and 90 minus 10. So we want to answer this question as follows. Let me just name the question here. All right. So we have two firms, a duopoly. We have been given firm 1, which has the equation Q1 is equal to 210 minus 30 P1. So whatever I do to firm 1 is what you do to firm 2 as well. So part 1, derive the marginal revenue function. Derive also our inverse demand. So firstly, this is a direct demand function. We can make P subject and it becomes our direct demand. So 30 will be this side. Is equal to what? 210 minus Q1. So we divide throughout by 30, by 30, by 30. Here we know there's an invisible one. So P1 is equal to what? 7 minus 1 over 30 Q1. This is firm 1. So we now want to calculate the marginal revenue. So how do we find marginal revenue? We first find the total revenue, which is given by price times quantity. So here we're going to have 7 minus 1 over 30 Q. We multiply by the Q there. So here we're going to have 7Q minus 1 over 30 Q squared. So how do we find the marginal revenue? When you differentiate the total revenue with respect to the quantity, this is called our marginal revenue. So what is our marginal revenue there? 7Q is 7. 1 over 1 over 30Q squared to be. How do we get? 2 over 30. Or 1 over 15 if you want. So our marginal revenue, what is 1 over 15? 0.067.
Yeah, 0.067, yes.
So this is our marginal revenue for firm 1. Then how do we sketch the demand function for firm 1? I told you that you put the letters on one side, Q1 plus 30 P1 is equal to what? 210. So to sketch, we just use the intercepts. Where is it cutting? Here there's 1. 1 into 210 is 210. What number is there? 30. 30 into 210 is what? 7.
7.
Price and quantity. So it will cut the price at 7 and the quantity at 210. So that is how we sketch it. So let's do firm 2 together. So here firm 2, Q2 is equal to 90 minus 10 P2. Q2 is equal to 90 minus 10 P2. The 2 down is just showing that this is firm 2. All right. So how do you sketch this firm?
So Q2. So divide Q2 divided by 90.
So here, what number is at Q2?
Q2 is So 1.
1, correct. So 1 into 90 is 90. Then the 10 into 90 is 9. So what are the intercepts? Where does it cut?
So price is
9 and 90.
and 170.
The FM1 was cutting at what point?
So the
7 and what? 210.
so the
All right, so I want you to understand how the oligopoly is coming in place. All right, so how do we find the inverse demand for this firm here? What does it mean to have an inverse demand?
2
Pardon? For firm 2, yes.
on price.
We make what? Price
So
up.
we make price
Correct. All right. So there's an invisible one there. So we divide both sides by 10. What are we going to have? 10 here, 10 there, and 10 there. So what becomes our price function?
equal to 9
All right. Then how do we find the total revenue? Total revenue is given by what? Price times quantity. All right. So 9 minus 0.1 Q. We multiply by the Q. So here we're going to have 9 Q minus 0.1 Q squared. I'm removing the 2's down there because sometimes people get confused. I'll put them later on. So when I differentiate the total revenue with respect to quantity, what do I get? 9 minus what? 0.2 Q. So this is our marginal revenue. Now, this is called the kink. The examiner will now ask us to calculate the price and quantity at the kink. So at the kink, there's no price discrimination. So we simply say firm 1 is equal to what? Firm 2. So if we go to our original functions, what was firm 1? 210 minus 30p. Firm 2, 90 minus 10p. So just equate them. 210 minus 30p. 90 minus 10p. So we just solve for p. What is price discrimination? P minus what? 10p. So here, 210 minus 90, we get what? 120. Then 30 minus 10, we get 20. And we divide both sides by 20. So we're going to get our P as 6. Then you can substitute the P in any of these two. So if you're going to use this one, 90 minus 10, then here you put a 6. So 90 minus 60, which is 30. So our quantity at the kink is 30. Suppose we put it in the other equation here. 210 minus 30p. Where there's p, we put a 6. So this is 210 minus 180. It's to give us a 30. So q is 30 and p is 6. So here put a 6 and here put a 30. Are you together so far? Napapata escuru marefu ai certain things are tough in their own nature. You just need to spend time to digest them. Otherwise, I can only repeat the concepts, and I'll ask you to go through my videos as much as you can because you don't have time. This is a very tough concept that you need to understand, but it's manageable. So we've been asked to derive the marginal revenue for FEM 1.
Is that all it?
Yes, please.
Please don't forget to learn this because this is compulsory.
Yes,
Usually game theory, it's compulsory.
Okay, I'll send you the video.
Please. Like what time?
As soon as we are done, I'll send you through. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So after finding the equilibrium for each of these ones here, you will now be asked to calculate the marginal revenue at the gap. So since we found the marginal revenue for FEM 1 and FEM 2, where there's quantity, we substitute now this 30 here. So marginal revenue for FEM 1 or for FEM 2, 9 minus. So here we're going to put the 30. So when you put 30, it will be 9 minus 6, which is equal to 3. For FEM 1, when you put the 30 here, okay, so this is 30, so 30 in there is 2. So 7 minus 2, we get a 5. So the marginal revenue here is equal to 5. So the examiner now asks you which one is the upper and the lower. We have 5 and the other one was 3. So usually when you're dealing with an oligopoly, we want you to know where the gap will be. What does it mean? So there's a 5 and a 3. So remember I said decisions are interdependent. So if a firm in the oligopoly or the cartel decides to charge above, obviously not above 5, they'll make a loss. They'll leave him. If he goes maybe to 4, they'll go below him to 3 so that they put him off the market. And this is the reason why oligopoly has a funny way in which it is created, because decisions here are interdependent. And this is what brings about what is called the game theory. Game theory brings about a concept where firms will choose to either cooperate or not cooperate. Okay. So it also brings about what is called the prisoner's dilemma. So game theory is very important because it gives an illustration where individuals who are acting on their own interests can lead to what is called a suboptimal outcome, or an outcome that will result in the whole market benefiting. So in the game's dilemma, there are two individuals who were arrested for a crime and they were placed in separate cells. And the prosecutor comes to offer each one of them a deal. Say, if one confesses and testifies against the other, they will receive a reduced sentence or immunity, while the other prisoner will receive a harsher sentence. Now, if the prisoners confess, they will both receive a moderate harsh sentence. And on the other hand, if prisoners will remain silent and not confess, they will both receive a lighter sentence. So this is the concept of the dilemma, which arises where each prisoner must decide which one is lesser evil, whether to cooperate, that is by remaining silent, or to defect by confessing. So the optimal outcome for both prisoners is to cooperate or to remain silent. And this is what economists have tried to use in explaining the game theory. I'll explain that in its own separate class, but for now, I'll end here. Thank you so much for your time.